everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Chaotic Harmony and happy 2026. This is my first episode of this year. And so, to all our listeners, I hope you're enjoying the new year so far, wherever you may be. My name's Jamie Jun, who brings the fun. Hey. And we also have our chaotic boss, John Seligman, who will be our co host.
Hello, hello.
And we invite all of you to listen to our podcast today with our honored guest, Ashtyn Avella.
Hey, look at my nails.
Hey, beautiful. It looks great. So, Ashtyn, how about we start with you? How's your new year going so far?
Wonderful. We were just talking about how I just restarted my Spanish lessons, so that's nice. Being able to continue doing that, being a student myself. It can be a challenge, but that's good. And I always love this return from winter break because the concert's over. There's a long way to go for the next concert. So it's kind of just like we're just living in this moment. Like I'm not thinking about what's going to happen in May. I'm just kind of like, yes, it's me, it's my students, just doing awesome music together.
That's awesome. How about you, John?
Typically, I have the same feeling about January, but this year it's a little more complicated. As Jamie,
why?
You're coming down south for March for my wedding. So a lot's happening as far as planning goes. Plus, also, I'm trying to plan for the San Diego Orff levels as well. Plus, also other things. Just a lot of planning, and it's always weird because I'm talking to people about stuff that's on my brain, it's on my list to do, but then I also teach. So it's been a little bit of a full January, just put it that way.
Yeah, or 2026 is already stacked for you, basically, right at the beginning of the year. It's almost like one end of the spectrum for Ashtyn and the other end for John.
100%.
I guess I'm kind of in the middle for me because like I unlike a lot of music educators, I don't have my concert in December. I usually have my winter concert in January, and then it gives us more time, less stress on all the concerts building up in December, and then early January we just had our concert last week and it went great, and then now I can relax a little bit, and then I went to CASMIC. So for our listeners who may not be in California, that's the California All-State Music Educators Conference, which is actually going to be our next episode next week. And speaking of which, this is not New Year's Harmony. This is Chaotic Harmony. And it's a show where we talk about our joys, struggles, and all things adjacent to elementary music. We're here to interview Ashtyn Avella, but this is actually not the first time that she has been on our podcast. You should definitely listen to our 2-part episode from last season called Harmony for All, where Ashtyn, Danny McKay, Crystal Pridmore, and I talked about LGBTQI+ and music education. Please take a look at that conversation out. And then next week, Genesis will be the one hosting our recap video or podcast of CASMIC. So definitely listen to that one too next week. Now, the main spotlight of our episode, Ashtyn, it was great to have you in our previous episodes, like I mentioned, but now we get to actually hear more about you and your own experiences. And I know you mentioned some of these things in that episode that I mentioned, but would you mind giving us a recap of how you came to be a music educator?
Yeah, so I've always wanted to do some kind of work with schools. So in kindergarten, I wanted to be a bus driver. And so I had do you remember those rugs that were just like little towns and they had the roads on them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s, like I had one of those and I had my little school buses. And let me tell you, I'd go from this house to this house and pick everybody up and bring them to school. That was like what I wanted to do. And then as I got into about 5th and 6th grade, it was time for me to think of like, oh, I really actually want to be like a teacher. So then I'd play. I'd play like school. My house would be like the school and the different rooms, different classrooms. So and I teach the students and things like that.
Wow.
But I hadn't really gotten much into music yet. And so at that point, it was still like, I want to teach, but I don't know. I could teach social studies. I could teach I don't know, whatever a 5th grader has to take. I could teach any of these things. And then when I got to middle school and really started getting a little more serious about music is when I actually was kind of like, I could do this music thing. And I remember that my band teacher in 8th grade, so 7th grade, our band teacher retired, and then we had a new one come in for 8th grade. She would let me stay after school and stay in the band room. And she's like, just close the door when you're done. And I would play all of the instruments, which is so gross now, but when you're in 8th grade, it's a little different. But I would take people's clarinets, people's flutes, I would take everyone's instrument out, and I would just start learning them and teach myself. And it's the whole path of like, I'm going to go and do all my band stuff, and I'm going to go to school and be a band teacher. And how many times have we heard the story on this podcast? Like, I feel like that's such a trajectory until I finally got my first job in elementary music after a couple years of teaching more like instrumental piano, things like that in middle school, high school, that I kind of found this general music elementary thing that is so magical. And just like, I wish more of us could have been led into that before. Kind of like, it's nice to discover it, but if only more of us could be funneled into it a different way before we get to college or during college, to kind of say like, this is a really great avenue, because it is so important that we have us elementary teachers to lay this foundation, to lay the appreciation that our students can have for music, so that way they want to be in band and chorus and orchestra and theater and all of that in middle school and high school. So we lay that foundation.
Mm. Yes. Preaching to the choir. And I guess on that note, when you were learning about these elementary music classroom things, do you happen to remember what pedagogy or approach that was, or it was just general elementary classroom music?
Oh, at first it was just kind of like general, but I started with learning like the fire robin stuff. Like that was my first like exposure into it, was conversational solfege, first steps in music. And so a couple years of that. And then I had an admin at one of my schools that was previously a music teacher and had done ORF levels in Vegas. And this was in New York. And that is kind of how I got it in my head, like ORF. And so I finally decided like to check it out. Like I saw like, oh, we have the SF international course. Like, let me see what that's like. Applied to it. And I've never done anything ORF before that. So I kind of had to like, so I kind of had to convince them to let me in, because it's always like, what's your experience with ORF? And I was like, nothing. And so James Harding, hello James Harding, good old James Harding, said,
"Hey,
if you come to the mini conference this year, great, that'll be great." So that was 2019. So that was Nordic Sounds mini conference. Wow. And so I did that, and then I got my first level that summer. I met you.
Hey. Yeah. So I think we mentioned before, I first met Ashtyn at levels. So I think, that was level 1 for you. And I remember a distinct memory of, I think it was the Untalent show, or was it your sharing, that you had a pink boa and you had these flamboyant fans, and you were just like dancing around with the movement. I was thought, oh my gosh, that's amazing. This is just perfect for this person. So I was really happy to like see that you were there. I was actually in level 2, so I was more focused on all my studies and my homework. So I was very antisocial at that point. But I do remember seeing you there. So that was really cool.
I'm curious, Ashtyn, like, I also started with Fire Robin. That was how I jumped into elementary music, because I didn't know what I was doing at first. And then someone handed me some books. Like, okay, cool. What was the transition like, going from something that's much more, for lack of a better term, rigid or systematic, to something that's much more free flowing like ORF? What was that like for you?
It was such a challenge, because I feel like that's similar to how we grew up with music, was a little more rigid. And I know that Fire Robin is not like, and we're using, like, lack of better terms, but much more structure. And it was honestly the first couple years of being an ORF teacher, especially after only having level 1 because 2020 happened, so I never got to go to level 2 for a couple years. So trying to do post level 1 for a couple years and like letting myself let the students have it. Like that was really hard to let go of the control, to let the student lead and take their lead. Like that was really a struggle. And I feel like I find myself doing that still to this day. But it's easy to remember like oh like whatever they do is going to be amazing. Like they're going to get to where they want to be, but they're going to be so much more satisfied with that because they came to that conclusion. They came up with this product. I was just there to facilitate, to help wherever they needed.
Exactly. I feel like we all do that because of how the majority of music education is in the US and us growing up. But I think sometimes there are times where, yes, we do have to be teacher oriented about some things, but then we always have to remember that aspect, like sometimes it's okay to let go of that and be the facilitator and to let the children have that ownership, like you were just talking about. So, are there, other than music education or your career, it sounds like it's been in your life for like since you were very young. Are there also any other hobbies that you enjoy outside of your career? Because I know that sometimes teachers need a break from our career and to find joy in something else to help us keep going for our own self-care and mental health, you know? So is there something that you do, music or otherwise?
I actually do a couple things. I sing in 2 different choruses. So I sing in the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus, but then I also sing in a chorus down in the peninsula of the Bay Area called Peninsula Cantare.
Wow.
I read many, many, many books. I love reading. So anyone that follows me on Instagram sees my stories where I share my books. I share what I love because I want people to be able to read. I want people to be readers as well.
Definitely.
And I also am a co-director of a queer volleyball league.
Oh.
And so I do that as well. And I'm starting for the first time. They're doing a woman trans non-binary dodgeball, so I'm going to do that too. So I'm just like trying to be like busy, 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 busy.
A lot. How do you make time for your job and everything?
My job's for the day. Everything else is for the night.
And the weekend, hopefully. Yeah.
And the week. Yeah. The sports are all weekend sports. So I get plenty of time. Like it sounds like a lot, but I get plenty of free time.
That's awesome.
It also seems like, if I remember correctly from your last episode, you try to make sure you establish not rigid boundaries, but enough boundaries for like you to be able to excel not just in your teaching, but also in your personal life. Is that correct?
Correct. And as should all of you listening in here, we all should be doing that. We all should be making sure our home life outside of school is as fulfilling as our life inside of school.
What's one of the things that one tip you'd recommend for someone that isn't in this podcast right now to advice for them to try to balance? Like what's been one of your successful go-tos to make sure you keep those boundaries?
I think the biggest thing is you have to get into your head and convince yourself that it'll be okay. That your job will still be there. Everything that you need to do will still be there. And it's okay. I'm speaking from my point of view and my perspective. Some people might feel differently in terms of where their admin are or what they're able to do. But I promise that if more people really get into their heads and think to themselves, in order for me to be successful as a teacher, I need to also be successful as a human being. You need to be able to give your best self, and you can't give your best self if you're not fulfilling all of the desires you want. You want your rest, your happiness. Like you want to be able to have a full life so that when you go to school, you feel like you're living your best self, that you can give your best self.
Absolutely.
Love that.
You got to learn how to shut it off and just be like, fly away, my bad thoughts. Like I need to be myself. Or you need to figure out how to just lock it in your classroom and the voices will come back in when you unlock the door.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, I think knowing John and I think we need to actually practice that more, exactly what you're saying. I mean, we've definitely heard exactly what you're saying before, but it really comes down to yourself. You have to convince yourself. Nobody else can convince you to do it. But it's like what you're saying, you have to get into your own mind and convince yourself that I need to be able to do this, because otherwise it's not going to be healthy for you.
And I really
So
like that you try to like bring it back to, because like a lot of teachers are very student focused, and the fact that you mention also it does it good for the kids if you yourself are also centered is it's a good
exactly.
reminder. Sorry, Jamie, I cut you off, but
No, it's fine. What I was gonna say is that you were talking about in some of those hobbies and things about, and in other podcasts about being part of this queer community, about a non-binary group, the Gay Men's Chorus, and you have mentioned also that you said you identify as trans femme, correct? Am I wrong?
Right.
Yes. And in your experiences, we understand that, for my next question, we understand that you're not a representative of the queer community, but what are some of your observations when it comes to LGBTQI plus and music education now that we're going back to the classroom? And I guess an example of that is, do you feel like there's more or less support for the community in music education, or for teachers or for students in the area that you live? What are some things that you've seen?
Well, I'll start small and kind of the area that I'm in. And because I live in the Bay Area of California, I already am in an extremely privileged place where there is more acceptance for diversity and people being able to be their authentic selves. And so, just when I think of going to uh, NCAOSA, like Northern California, our chapter, there are very specific things that we have for when a presenter comes, like make sure that the language you're using is inclusive, make sure that you're doing ABCD. So we make sure that they know, like, this is what we believe in our chapter, and we want to make sure you're following that. So the people that come to work with you in our community are going to feel safe and comfortable, because no one wants to come to this ORF workshop and then feel completely invisible. Everyone wants to be seen and feel like they're valid and they're welcome there. And so locally, I feel like all the teachers that I know that are queer are out and open about it and proud about it. Our local ORF chapter is extremely, they are very open about it and accepting of everything. And then going out to like just AOSA, I have to say that from my experience personally, that I've always also felt very accepted. I've gone to DEIA meetings, and it's very clear that they want to do right with everybody. Want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable, even though we might be going to a place that isn't as comfortable for everybody in terms of the laws and things like that. That they want to try their best to make everyone feel good about going to conference. Like, for example, I chose personally to stay from conference this year, but I don't feel like that was the fault of AOSA. That was completely my own decision. Like, I'm okay. I'll skip Kentucky and do something else, but it wasn't, and no one made me feel that I couldn't go. Things were done to say, like, if you go, we will make sure that you have a great experience and you feel comfortable, you feel safe, and all of those things. So it was completely a personal decision. But nationally, it's really disheartening when we had our last conversation with Danny, just hearing like what it's like in these other states and things like that. Is that people aren't able to be their authentic selves or talk about those things, and people also are at the same time. Danny spoke about how he's able to be his authentic self and he doesn't shy away from that, but not everyone is in that situation or feels comfortable. People might be earlier in their careers or might not have a supportive admin. So I'd be curious to see what this looks like in colleges today, because I actually, I mean, I'm so far removed from that. I'd love to know if the music education programs have grown. I went to a music school with about 600 people, and there were very few out queer people. I'm sure they're out now if there were more, but I really didn't have a lot of exposure to the queer community when I went to college, and so all this stuff was never talked about. Everyone was out as cis and straight where I went to school, and so it was just a completely different environment. And especially back in 2008 through 2012, it was also a different time, so things were still a little more quiet. But I hope that colleges are becoming more inclusive and having these conversations about how all these issues can be in the classroom. Like, it doesn't have to be hidden. People could be who they are.
Yeah, that actually does bring up a good point about how what is it like in the colleges? And some of us have student teachers, and we kind of have a window into what our student teachers and their cohorts look like. But then some of us who don't involve ourselves with colleges or student teachers or anything, that's definitely a good point to bring up. Maybe that's something that other chapters can try to do more outreach.
Yeah.
But
also, like, as we mentioned, that like the university, also high school, but the university is where we kind of had that passion for it to become a music teacher. If people don't feel like they can be themselves in universities, that's a good point, Ashtyn. Yeah, hopefully they're doing their not due diligence, but they're doing the right thing.
Actually, just to answer a little bit about that, at least just in Sacramento, and this kind of ties into CASMIC a little bit. Me and some of my other colleagues have student teachers, and we collaborate with Sac State. And so not to out anybody, but some of my colleagues have student teachers, and the student teachers are open about being non-binary or about being trans. So it does seem like there's hope and that they're opening up and being more inclusive in those spaces. And also at CASMIC, I was really happy to see that there was a session led by a trans woman professor from Cal State Stanislaus. She presented a session about non-binary and transgender update. So, I mean, it seems like there's, at least in California and some places, it's in the colleges, it seems like it does seem to be opening up a little more. So more visibility. And I guess like maybe that ties into something that you're noticing that you feel like more people should be aware of. So maybe people should should wonder more about the colleges, or are there certain things that the chapters in your area, and you said AOSA was very supportive and welcoming. What were they doing specifically that helped you feel comfortable?
I think they have, first of all, inclusive language. I think that's the first thing, is like, how do we make sure that our language includes everyone, instead of waiting to do that when you have people there. So instead of being reactive, we need to be proactive. So already, it doesn't matter whether or not someone is out and queer, whether it's gay, lesbian, bi, whether it's trans or non-binary. If someone could be there, and if they're not out, they're still there. Changing that language at the beginning is important, because you want to make sure that people come in and feel comfortable. I've come into spaces where the language wasn't evolved, and then I had to like force my way into places to help evolve that language. And for me personally, I've been okay doing that, but we can't just assume everyone wants to take on that emotional labor. It's unpaid, it's unfair.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that people come in and say, wow, like, they've been thinking about this. And those are what the allies are for. Like, you're there to say, well, I know it needs to get done, so let's get it done. So that way, when someone comes in, they say, okay, this is my place. I belong here. I don't have to like walk on eggshells and be afraid of anything.
I think that reminds me of when Crystal and John, you first came to in person, came to present for us at Arosa or Sacramento. That was when you first met Ashtyn, right?
That's right. Well, for me, I believe Crystal met you before, Ash. Is that right?
Yeah, mini conferences.
That's right.
And And that kind of also sparked how we definitely wanted you to be on this podcast and everything. John, do you remember how we talked about, or Ashtyn, you mentioned about how our chapter, just something as simple as putting on the name tag our pronouns, a place to put our pronouns. How did that make you feel?
Well, the first time I went to Erosa, I was very nervous because it was my first time going to a chapter I've never been to. So walking in and having that example of inclusivity made me feel like I'm welcome here. It's back to the whole thing of like there's these subtle things that most people don't recognize, but there are people that it will mean the world to. So it's a little thing or nothing to most people, but one person, it's all of a sudden the world. And that's why I felt comfortable coming back and wanting to come back to that specific chapter. And you'll never know, and you might never even know. Like obviously we've talked and you and your chapter know how much things like this mean to me, but there's people who will come, will leave, won't say anything, but in their bodies, in their minds, they're comfortable, they're safe, and you'll never know that. But I think that's just as important to know that like I'm doing this for somebody, even if I don't get the credit for it or they don't tell me about it. You just know that it's there.
And it's small things also. It's not these big gestures, but there are these small things. I'm specifically talking about the pronouns element. I remember talking to a conversation with a relative of mine who has different viewpoints, unfortunately. But they also have a non-Western name, and like I know they would have benefited from having pronouns themselves because like it's not a Jane, it's different. It's a non-Western name, and like I think I would share this in another episode. Just like these small things, they aren't massive. They're small things that just don't just help the queer community; they help everybody, but they also help the queer community specifically. Like, yeah.
Well, it's interesting, like that this conversation of pronouns, like it's just recycled over and over and over again. Because I remember it was 2019 that I finally start getting my current school like on board with like let's put our pronouns in our email, let's put our pronouns on our classroom, like all those things. And it's the same. It's a constant recycled battle of like why is it important? Things like that. What are your pronouns? Well, obviously, normal, things like that. And it's like the reason why people should say and express what their pronouns are is because that creates a safe environment.
Yeah.
It's not because people don't know. People are not trying to say, like, you're something that you're not. It's not, no one's trying to be attacking you. It was really just to show that you're safe and inclusive for everybody. You are putting out the work there first. So that way that trans or non-binary, it doesn't have to be the one that has to speak up and say, these are my pronouns when no one else did. They can say like, oh, everyone else is doing it. It's just the culture here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that, I seem to say I feel like a lot, but this is a podcast. We say what our opinions and our feelings for sure. I guess just for listeners who are not familiar, I feel like it's good to recycle this conversation is what I'm trying to get at. Because the more mediums, the more places, the more articles or videos or podcasts, wherever it is, it should be exposed or it should be said again so that more people can hear and see, oh, all these different people are saying something, the same thing by people who are part of the queer community. And maybe there's some truth to it because there are real people who are saying these same things over and over again. These culture bearers are saying the same things over and over again. Maybe I should believe them. Mm-hmm. But also, just to make it a little more practical, that's just a practical strategy that we can use in our own classrooms as well for our students. So maybe just if you have a slideshow to show Welcome to Music by ms.fun.jun, then I can have my pronoun there. And then students who maybe not out can see, oh, something as simple as that can show that maybe I can talk to Miss Jun about what I'm going through. And Actually, I had a question for you as well. Are there any other strategies or lessons that either you do in your own classroom or that you've seen at workshops or conferences that other teachers do to show like this is a safe space or this is an inclusive space?
I really think it's just the materials that you use. I think if you diversify the materials that you use, you're already showing people that you're thinking, that you're expanding your worldview. It's so important that I, when I'm reading books, I'm making sure my books are from points of view that are not just from a boy. Which, what is the statistic? Isn't it? Didn't Crystal know the statistic of like how many children's books where the main character is just a boy? Is it like
Yep. Yep.
most of them? I think she said that in the last
Most of
episode,
them.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, but there are lots and lots of books out there to read to your students and to take from, where this perspective is from all different types of people, all different identities. And you want that, it's like the whole mirrors thing. I mean, you want windows and mirrors. You want people to be able to like learn, but also like see themselves as well. For me, that's one of the biggest things. Like, I'm always looking for people that are thoughtful in their practice. I'm really drawn to people who make sure that they are doing the work outside of themselves, that a whole world exists, and we're a better place and a better people because we understand and accept everybody for who they are, where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's also
So,
not like we're not taking away also. I think that's the biggest concern from a lot of people, like, uh-oh, we're switching from what, 90% boys to now more diversified. And it's like, no, we're not taking away from boys. We're not taking away from a specific demographic. We're just trying to make sure that everyone feels seen and everyone feels like they are part of that literature.
Yeah, a fight that we have, I think, sometimes in, like, specifically just in the queer community in San Francisco, is there's the demographic of the older queer people, especially older gay men who had to fight for their rights. They had a very tough time. They were not accepted. It
yeah,
was not an easy life. Um,
no.
they feel sometimes that they're being erased by coming up. So, like, right now, like,
Oh,
the gay men's chorus doesn't, you no longer have to be a gay man to be in the gay men's chorus.
okay.
Um, I
Wait,
just
they
started
feel
transit.
erased by, I think I missed it.
They feel erased by other identities now
Oh, okay.
coming up. So other people can come in to the gay men's chorus, and whether you can be a straight person, you can be a cis woman, you could be all these different things as long as you can sing into the tenor range, baritone range, or bass range. You could be in the chorus. And I think
Mhm.
Dan even talked about from the Austin Gay Men's Chorus last
He
episode.
did.
And these things are happening everywhere, but there are some people who I feel like they fought so hard that they do feel like it's taking their history away. And it's like a balancing thing. It's like you have to be heard. We want people to be heard,
Yes,
but people also need to grow. I think it's in both. And
absolutely. Because like what John said, we're not taking away. We're trying to expand the space so that everybody can really be included. Hmm. These are a lot of good thoughts to think about because there's just so many different perspectives and we're trying to make sure we hear everybody and make space for everybody.
Mhm.
Do you feel like there were any influential teachers that helped you become who you are today, or whether it's in music or someone who was a good role model of how to how to advocate for yourself and your identity?
when I was in high school, I actually wasn't out. I didn't come out as a gay person until
Mm.
2 months after I graduated high school. But I, my two music teachers in high school were obviously aware, which is great. No forced outing, no, like, we really know. But I have to think back, like, They knew. They obviously knew after the fact because I came back and all that. But they accepted me for who I was, especially my chorus teacher. It was she also did the theater, like the productions and everything like that. And just being able to like be my authentic self. Let me tell you, in my junior year when we did You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and I was Snoopy, I was queer Snoopy. Let me tell you, I was having the best time. Snoopy is flamboyant, but like I was flamboyant and like amazing. It was like there was nothing wrong with that. There was nothing wrong with that. But I think people are often shut down for those things, for the way they act, the way they feel, and being able to just express myself. And it was like I didn't grow up in like a very open environment. I grew up in a very rural, closed place. Like, but yet there's still people there. Like there's going to be people everywhere that accept you for who you are. And these teachers, they pushed me. They pushed me extremely hard. They didn't let me get away with anything. They were very tough love, and it's what I needed. I could easily just like be like, yeah, whatever, and like kind of coast along. But I need those teachers who can say like, you like this is not good enough. You need to do this better, or if you don't do this, you're not going to be able to go on from there. So things like that were really helpful to me. So just having teachers who let me be my authentic self, even though there was never any outward statements of like, I am a queer person, just was let it be kind of thing.
So they gave you boundaries for helping you to facilitate how you express yourself without coddling you.
Yeah. And they're very clear about like what it would be like to be a musician and a music teacher, which was really nice. But never felt like anything I was doing wasn't good enough. Like, I don't know. I in my senior year of the musical, I played a straight person, but let me tell you, was I very convincing? I don't know, but who cares? I kissed a girl. Let me tell you. And okay.
Hey.
And it worked out. And they believed me or they didn't believe me. But that's the whole deal. That's what acting is.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Like, just let people be who they are. Like, that's the whole thing is like, I feel like I always see like the shutting down of who people are, like their authenticity, their spirit, what makes them them. It's like, if people want to be out there and flamboyant, it's like, that's just who they are. We don't want to label that. We label too much. Flamboyant does not equal gay. People need to realize that.
True.
It's true.
Like that, we keep getting in this thing. I see it online all the time of people are just being their authentic selves and everyone labels them as, and I'm talking specifically about cis men. They label them as gay. And it's like, we're still here. I feel like in 2026, we're still in that trap of like flamboyant equals gay. And it's like, no, that's just their personality. That the only person who defines their identity is them. You can't tell them who they are. So I feel like seeing that trap still happening in 2026 can be disheartening. And I really would love to see us move away from that, because I think we also bring that to our students as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I know by other colleagues that are new, or by students, because I'm also very playful, they think I'm also like, they call me zesty sometimes, or gay. It's like, well, like, this is who I am, but that does not mean, like, yeah, it's that's a good goal to strive for, because you're right. Just artistic people in general are going to be more flamboyant than not. Well, I shouldn't say.
And people are putting labels on you when it's when they shouldn't be in the first place. You're just who you are. You're zesty, but it doesn't mean that they should say that you're gay or anything.
Yeah.
And we love you because of it.
Exactly.
We love you, Zesty John.
That's why you're the chaotic boss.
I bring the chaos to the boss. Is that what it is? I don't know.
Hey, like that.
Okay. Is that a title that's going to stick? We'll figure it out.
Yes, we should. we've talked about a lot of things, and hopefully they've been practical or insightful and helpful to our community who's listening to us or watching us on YouTube, other than me and a couple other people who's watching on YouTube. But yes. Or maybe I'm just seeing it on my multiple accounts.
I'll cut that part out of the episode.
But Ashtyn, what if you could pick one thing that you could see improved that we haven't already mentioned before, then what would it be?
I want to bring this full circle from the last episode, and
full circle.
I want to invoke Danny into this moment, because Danny really put a plea out for the allies, and I want to come back to that and say that nothing gets better without the allies. Like, yes, queer people have been doing the work. We have been fighting, especially our ancestors. They've put on a lot of work, but the allies have also helped as well. And so I want to see people be able to walk into school and be a lesbian and say, blah, 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 my wife. And the kid just says, yes. I want to be able for a trans person to go into a school and says, these are my pronouns, and their students say, great. And that's the pronouns they use. I am in an environment where I feel like I'm the closest to that I would like to see, where my students know my pronouns because I'm very explicit. I will practice with them. I'll give them reminders, repeat after me. When we get inside, we're going to follow Ashtyn, and they repeat. Ashtyn is the music teacher. She is going to lead you inside, and we practice saying the pronouns.
Yes.
The queer teachers at my school who have partners of the same gender are able to just say, blah, 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 my wife, blah, 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 things like that. And the kids don't bat an eye. They don't think about that. It's not a question of who they can be married to. They just understand, okay, this person is married to another person because they love them. It's that simple. And I want it to be that simple for everybody. I don't want it to be difficult for people to exist as who they are. I mean, it's a big thing I want to change, but I want to change that now.
Yeah.
Might as well. Yeah.
Should have changed it decades ago. Should have seen it decades ago. Yeah, exactly. So, but it is a message that needs to be said or recycled. And hopefully, whether it's said in the other episode or this episode, people hear it and really take it to heart, because it's important.
And also, it's important because if we don't do it, then all the people that's around those communities are just going to be listening to their news outlets that say X, Y, or Z. But true change doesn't happen from outside news. It happens from inside the community. And so if you believe it's going to take allies like myself and other people to make sure it's just a gentle, this is what it is, as opposed to making y'all do all the work.
Yeah, we want to make sure that we're doing this work, and it's not only for ourselves. We might not see the result of the work we're doing, but future generations will see that work, and they will be thankful for it. I'm so thankful for all of the things that my transcestors have done for me and my community in the past. And one day I hope that people can say they're proud of the things that me and the community today have done to make it easier for them. So
yes,
you plant the tree that you're not always going to be able to enter the shade of, kind of thing. Yeah, so we want to set the groundwork. So sometimes we do work that's hard and we don't see the result, and that's just life, but we make it better for the future.
Absolutely.
Who are students currently.
Yeah, exactly. And we hope that the message hits with them as well, and they can carry on to our future transcendence or descendants. Because you were saying transcestors, I was like, transcendence?
Yeah. That's a different word.
Well, yeah, exactly. It didn't work.
It's all good.
Well, thank you, Ashtyn. Thank you, John. I think we're ready for our break.
Hey, we just want to take a quick moment to shout out Mission Trails Financial, the partner making this show possible at no cost to you. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by financial planning, you're not alone. But Mission Trails Financial is here to make things simpler. They offer tailored financial advice for you, from investments to tax and insurance planning, with a team of experienced fee-based advisors who are CFP designated and fiduciaries. That means they're putting your best interests first. Let's face it, navigating the world of finances can feel like drinking from a fire hose with endless options for investments just a mouse click away. But Mission Trails Financial aims to cut through the noise by breaking things down into clear, actionable steps while providing regular updates. Mission Trails Financial believes everyone has the right to work with a financial advisor regardless of how much you've saved. Mission Trails Financial's focus is building a relationship so you are not traveling your financial path alone. They even help you keep track of old 401ks when you're transitioning between jobs, because your financial future should always stay on track, no matter what changes. So don't wait. Let Mission Trails Financial show you how to make that next step towards the future you've worked hard for. Plus, your first consultation is absolutely free. Just visit missiontrailsfinancial.com or call 619-419-0238 today. You'll be glad you did, because leaning on professionals like Mission Trails Financial is how we get ahead. Check out the program notes for more details. Advisory services offered through New Edge Advisors LLC, a registered investment advisor.
Here's our next part, our hard left turn. Thank you all for being such a big part of this 7-year journey, whether you joined us from the beginning or are new just today. Thank you so much. It means so much to have you here. And if you want this journey to continue, please support us. Hopefully you love us. Then you support the things you love. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/CHClassroom, where you can get special merch and other things for the class, including our full episodes on there too, for free. Patreon is revamped. January's printables are out, as well as our February newsletter and unedited episodes. And like I said, for free. But I know that it's hard to stick with subscriptions. We all get that. So if you love us, then you can still support us by giving us a one-time donation through buymeacoffee.com/chaoticharmony. If you donate here, you can give a shout out or request a spiccato. And if you don't have a coin to toss away, we'll be okay. But there are free ways to support us. Leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And as always, that's always been the case. You're giving us 5 stars, right? To add, if you leave a written review, we'll read it on our podcast. Follow us on YouTube and the socials. Leave this episode write a nice comment. Please, we like the nice ones, the nice comments.
Nice ones.
Yes. And all these small things ensure that the mics and lights stay on. Now we're on to our reverse spiccato. So, John, do you want to remind us what a reverse spiccato is?
Certainly. Thank you, Joshua Block, for giving us this idea. It's the idea of, spiccato initially was that you're supposed to take a random household item and make a lesson out of it. This time, with reverse spiccato, we're taking the lesson idea and finding a random item to teach it.
So I have a wheel, and it'll randomly choose out of some options what the lesson will be, and we have to run, find something that we can use to fit it. So everybody. And stopping at composition. So okay. I found this toy.
What is
and
that?
For our listeners, yes, for our audio listeners, it's actually a water. I don't know what it's called, but you pull the end and you push it out, and it squirts out water out of the other end.
What is it called?
Yeah, I guess a water pump or a water gun. It's not really in a gun shape. You just squirt it out and it brings out water. But basically, my idea for composition is you get different sizes of these, and then you put them in like whatever arrangement, either in a row or have a second row, and you could have the different sizes of these, and you could go And then another one is longer, and so it has deeper pitch. So this small one, the small length will go a higher pitch, and a longer one will have a deeper pitch. And you could have, it's almost like boom whackers, except you're just like going up and down and pumping it. And you can have in a row the kids going boop 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 around, and then that's their composition. And if you did want to, you could try doing it outside in the when it gets hotter, and try it with water.
I like that. Cool. I have on me, I'm going to cover a few things to make my anonymity better. I have on me, there we go. But unfortunately, my autofocus ain't working, but it's an address from a letter. And so this one says 1312 17th Street. This is not my address, by the way, so don't try to, someone else's address. But just using the numbers, having students then create a composition off of it. So in a lot of 12-tone theory, you have 0 being C, 1 being C sharp, 2, but you don't have to follow that modality. You can also do pentatonicism. So if C might be 1, D might be 2, C might. So it's up to you how you create your system. It doesn't have to be a mod 12 system, but like 1312 17th Street. That could be, if you would do the 12-tone approach, that'd be C sharp, D sharp, C sharp, D, C sharp, G, and then make some sort of piece with that. Again, you could also make that just into pentatonic. So one is C, E, C, D, bum, 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 and then have something to do with that. So
there you go.
A starting point for the kids, then create a composition from there.
A little worried we're gonna go into 12 tones.
Then again, Alan Berg, the spirit of Alan Berg comes in.
20th century music theory and the nightmares.
The good times.
Good times for some people.
So much fun. It was so much fun. Comp major,
Well, I have this box, and it has colors and vegetables.
Okay.
Hey.
I still haven't taken it out of its box. But like you were saying with the boomwhacker colors, it's not focusing, but
we see it.
But like green, red, I don't like coming up with the different colors in order. Of course, we'd have to separate these.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And for our audio listeners, what Ashtyn is holding up is a spiralizer blade device to make noodles, is to make like vegetable noodles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And so what she's holding up is orange for spiralized carrots, and green for the zucchini, and yellow for, I don't know what that is.
What?
Squash. There you go.
Squash. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we cut up the box. You got to cut up the box.
Oh, cut up the box.
Well, so that way you can have the different colors and different orders and
as manipulatives.
Correct.
Okay, and so then you're saying with those colors you do
boomwhackers.
Oh, the boomwhacker association.
You could do that. I have stickers on my Bard instruments of the boomwhacker colors. So
do you? Cool.
They match. So when it says C, it matches red for the boomwhackers.
There you go. So it's already there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you could use it on Bard instruments as well.
I feel like you could also find different vegetables of those colors. And yeah, that kind of gives me the idea. It doesn't have to be the ones from that box. It could just be from other actual cutouts of the fruit that has the same corresponding color with the boomwhacker. There we go. This is how we collaborate, make a community.
Yeah.
And help each other with ideas.
The vegetables and just eat them. That's another option.
Just no carrots for me, no cucumbers for me, no celery for me, no cilantro for me. And apparently we made a fifth one where, so it's just an inside joke. I don't like eating these things, and I call them the 4 C's.
What's the fifth one? You said a new one? A new C has arisen?
A new C, it's like, in parentheses, water chestnuts. I do not like water chestnuts.
So everyone, you know what to do. Next ORF conference, we're bringing it. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to eat it, but anyways, what would you do, listeners? How would you make a composition? Let us know at CH Classroom.
So you can reach all of us in different ways. How can they reach you if they want to ask you or tell you how you would make a composition, John?
You can find me at Mr. Seligman, MrSeligman, on Instagram, on TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads.
Very nice. And Ashtyn, I think you mentioned before that if people want to reach you, they can just email us, right?
Yeah.
Is that still the case?
Yeah, I don't have any public profiles to talk about, or to use.
So yeah, definitely. If you want to reach Ashtyn and ask her any questions about anything we've talked about, or maybe about the Gamers course that you're part of, or how you balance your life with everything that you enjoy, you can email us at chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com. And then as for me, I have a new email called ms.fun.jun@gmail.com. Hopefully that makes it easy to remember for everybody. But thank you, everybody. I'm really happy that we got to talk today, Ashtyn. I hope you had a good time. And
thank you
John,
so much for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. John, I guess it was good to have you here, our chaotic boss.
I guess.
For everybody, we have this relationship. It's fine. I swear that we're still friends. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a good day. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.